Hello. Let's see how this works. So somebody asked in a group what they can do about fidgety people. What they can do if they're oversensitive to restless, fidgety people that just have these weird fidgeting all the time and making what I would call visually noisy gestures or audio noisy gestures, fidgeting with pens and whatever, cigarette lighters and stuff like that. This is a video that I've been meaning to make for quite a while, because I've been looking at the stuff for a long time, And from my observation, it works like this. This is something that's happening all the time, everywhere. And probably since the beginning of time, because animals do it too, not just humans. It's like a game being played where anybody that's stressed internally, where they have issues that they haven't expressed and haven't worked on, and there's some tension there, some part of their neurology will be tense, neurons will be firing, and they have to somehow express that energy, like it's like I'm not okay, I'm not okay, crap it, this is bothering me. Something is bothering them. And because they're not expressing it head on, hey, I feel like shit because this, and this, mom and dad did this, or I lost my job, or whatever, because they're not expressing it in a verbal, direct way, their subconscious and their body is forced to just always leave it out like this in a non-verbal ways. This has a sort of evolutionary advantage, I think, because if you think back in a tribe, when people would know you, they would know your regular level of calm, and then in one certain day you have an argument or something happened, and you're not at peace, you just do this all the time. They will, if they're perceptive, they'll notice it and they'll ask you about it. So it's in a sense in our interest that if we have tensions that we don't know how to deal with ourselves, we would signal this to others. And if anybody is perceptive in that group, they will notice it. So obviously the person that asked the question is quite perceptive, is paying attention to their own emotions and to the emotions of others. And they would notice if somebody's fidgeting, restless, and so on and so forth. I've noticed that smokers are more so than the general population, but anybody gets nervous, anybody gets triggered or annoyed by arguments, spouses, what have you. How to deal with this? I do several things with this. I'm a guy, so I scan around me all the time. It's really of high interest to me how everybody's doing emotionally. Any group that I'm looking at, or any multiple groups, I need to know every time, all the time, where I'm going. I don't want to go with the weird fidgety people either. So I need to, if there's 5 groups there, I need to scan them and see where the stress is high, where the stress is low. If you see this kind of stress in another guy, well, what do you want to do? Because maybe you don't like them. Then you want to point it out, like they don't have their shit together, right? So, right, like really, maybe they're with their girl, and the girl is kind of zoning out on that because maybe she doesn't notice, she doesn't want to notice that she's with a fidgety, nervous guy, but you can point it out. You know, if you can point out that contrast between you and him, which I do a lot of the time, it just exposes some things, and generally it's stuff like the whole group has noticed that that's the fidgety guy, but maybe nobody said anything. So if you have the balls to say it and everybody agrees, then everybody will smile or laugh. And then he will know, oh shit, oh, hold on, this is actually a problem that I have to look into. It's not just, oh, a little bit of fidgeting, fingers fidgeting. If it's a girl, so if it's a female exhibiting signs like this, and if you're interested, you can use the signs of stress as an opening conversation thing. Like, hey, what's that? Like, you know, like, oh, nothing. Oh, really? I don't think it's nothing. That's something. And I've seen that the more you notice, especially if you notice more than other guys notice, girls will like this. I think people in general like to be looked at and to they like for others to know how they're feeling without asking verbally. So what you can do is use it in conversation. Now, the main question from the poster was how to protect from this stuff. So how to protect is, I use earplugs. Obviously, it doesn't work when you're at a party or social thing. I'm talking outside in just random city situations or mall or stuff like that. I do use earplugs because it's a lot of bullshit. And one thing I use is, if there's a fidgeter over there, I want to look away in such a way that they're not in my visual field. I think this is the core skill to learn. Do not keep these people in your visual field. They can fidget all they want visually if they're behind you, if they're outside of your visual field over there. If they're in your field, they're gonna do something that's quite interesting. So your belly here, which should feel at peace if you're all right with things. If you have a fidgeter like this at close range and in your visual field, their edginess will start to bother you. It will in some sense jump from them to you. And they will get the sense of release when they do this in other people's faces. And you will get a sense of, you came into a room calm and you're leaving it all, slam doors and scratch people. So that's a win-lose interaction. So what to do is pretty much what a female pigeon does to a male pigeon that tries to send his signals into her eyeballs, which is avoid, avoid, avoid. You know, make sure their signals aren't in your visual field. This becomes very, very obvious when you're mushroom tripping or any sort of psychedelic. If you go outdoors, these signals become a lot stronger. Like, you notice them a lot stronger, and it's so strong that you may have somebody at 5 or 7 meters over there, and they're just the way they're fidgeting and they're doing the restless stuff. It will be strong enough that you have to look away. Like, oh, Jesus Lord, this guy. Take a chill pill, man. So if you practice this, if you go and meditate, and then try to just maintain that chill state among people, you'll see that in any park, in any place, there will be these fidgeting, noisy, internally noisy people, and you have to work your eyeballs in some way to, even if you talk to them. What I do is, for instance, I'll talk to somebody. If they're dumping this visual noise, I'll just talk like this. Like, I won't look at them. I'll be close enough and I'll talk clearly, but not look at them. And obviously it seems dismissive to them, which I am, because hey, if I'm coming in your visual field like this and just presenting myself chill, right? If I bring a state of calm to you and you bring some fucking crap, I mean, you know what I'm saying? If you're not a kid, scared kid or something, if you're an adult, I don't need this crap. So if it's a girl, I may help, I may ask what's up. Like, it's a really good point to start a conversation, because obviously if she's in that state, then the people around her up to that point weren't competent or interested enough to help her to get to a calmer level. So obviously it's on you. If you're interested, pick it up, it's on you. If it's other guys, I think it's better to amplify the stuff so that they themselves can see what they're doing and grow some spine. Like, if this is how they do it in nature, this is how birds do these things as well. You go and fidget next to the big rooster, he's not gonna hold your hand and ask you what the trouble is. He's gonna hit you over the head like, dude, go fidget somewhere else. So and finally, leave. If you're in, like, I've had things where I went into fidgety smoker groups, teenagers or whatever, and they can cost you 2-3 days of energy. Within half an hour, within 20 minutes, they'll fidget so much and make so much goddamn noise, you will need 2-3 days to recover from that. So I say that stuff, it's much better to just leave, and leave early. If you see it's a group of restless, fidgety, weird people, unless you have some Mother Teresa helping complex situation, you want to help everybody at your own expense, leave. Leave them to their fidgeting, you know, or take them one at a time, but don't sit in a group of 20 fidgeters because they're stronger. Trust me, I tried. It doesn't work. What else? I think this is the main stuff. Ooh, and the distance thing. The distance. So what these people are trying to do unconsciously is to make this noisy bullshit crap a lot of this stuff as close to you as possible in front, so you can see them and they can dump visually and auditory noise at you. And it gets quite interesting when you start avoiding, because the game is exactly like what the male and female pigeon mating game looks like. It's just this avoiding thing. Or if you talk to people who drink, they're gonna try and touch you here all the time with things they say. They're gonna try to also touch you, and I sort of back off. Or if they touch me like excessively, I'll poke them in the ribs or something. So like it's like, it's so nice to see this stuff flowing, but you have to flow it, you know, you have to play with it. The worst thing you can do is go to some party or some group and people fidgeting and you are annoyed by it and don't express anything. You just sit there and take it. It means they got their mark, they got their man. They found the stress dumpster. They can just bring you down to their level or up to their stress level. You came unstressed and they can stress you up just fine. And it's, again, a win-lose. That's the worst thing you can do, to just sit there and take it and just be the lose part in the win-lose interaction. Distances, that's it. Distances, visual field, that's all we got. Watch how birds do this stuff. Watch how dogs do this stuff. Watch how, if you have like two dogs, a big one and a small one, if the small one is fidgety, it's restless. If it's doing this close to the big one will do something. We're like, hey, like you'll pull a paw on him or something to just snap him out of it. The signal is the same. The signal is, if you're here, stop fidgeting, I'm in charge. Or if you want to fidget and just you don't feel safe, go fidget somewhere else. You know, so this guy here has to maintain his field calm. Okay, I hope this made sense. Thank you for watching.